I arrived at the retreat with a suitcase full of anxiety and a to-do list that was longer than the Nile. My instructor, a man named Master Han, who moved with the urgency of a cloud, introduced me to Wu Wei. It means effortless action, he said, handing me a broom. Sweep the courtyard, but do not try to sweep, just allow the sweeping to happen. I spent the first 20 minutes furiously attacking the leaves. I was sweating, I was grunting, I was essentially fighting nature. Master Han watched me while sipping tea. "You look like you are trying to arrest the dust," he noted gently. "The dust is not a criminal, it is just dust." He showed me how to move with the wind rather than against it. Suddenly, I wasn't working, I was dancing with debris. I realized Wu Wei isn't about laziness, though I am a big fan of naps. It's about stopping the struggle. It's the spiritual equivalent of realizing you've been pushing a door that clearly says, pull. The next morning, I woke up feeling grumpy. Then, 10 minutes later, I saw a butterfly and felt ecstatic. Then I stepped in a puddle and felt grumpy again. I apologized to Master Han for my emotional volatility. "Ah," he smiled, drawing a circle in the dirt. "Yin and yang, the sunny side of the mountain and the shady side." He explained that the universe isn't a solid block of good vibes only. It's a dynamic mix. You can't appreciate the cozy warmth of a blanket, yang, without the air conditioning being slightly too cold, yin. "Your mood swings are not a bug in the software," he told me. "They are the operating system. If you were happy all the time, you would be a golden retriever, not a human. Accept the rain, for it allows you to wear your favorite sweater." I felt a weight lift. I wasn't an emotional mess. I was just harmoniously balanced in my chaos. "Where do you feel your chi?" Master Han asked during our morning stance practice. "I think I feel it in my lower back," I groaned. "Or maybe that's just the mattress." "Chi is the breath of the cosmos," he corrected, ignoring my posture complaints. "It flows through the meridians like a river." We stood in silence, practicing deep breathing. I tried to imagine a glowing ball of light in my stomach. At first, I mostly just felt hungry for breakfast, but as I slowed my breath, letting the oxygen hit the basement of my lungs, the buzzing in my head, the emails, the deadlines, the awkward thing I said in 2014 went quiet. It turns out chi is just the body's way of reminding you that you are a battery and you cannot run on 1% charge forever. You have to plug into the air itself. "Now we fight," Master Han announced. I panicked. "I have the upper body strength of a cooked noodle." "We fight gravity," he clarified. Slowly, we began Tai Chi. To an outsider, it looks like mime school for people stuck in molasses, but from the inside, it was magic. I was told to part the wild horse's mane. I have never met a wild horse, but I imagined it had very silky hair. Moving this slowly forced me to actually be there. Usually my body is walking to the kitchen while my mind is already in next week's staff meeting. Tai Chi forced them to sync up. It was a moving meditation, a way of telling my nervous system, "Hey, we are safe. We are just moving invisible clouds. No tigers are chasing us today." "Walk the circle," Master Han instructed. "Why?" "Because walking in a straight line implies you know where you are going," he winked. "The circle admits we are all just wandering. Bagua involves walking in a circle while twisting your body." It felt like I was trying to wring out a wet towel, except the towel was my spine. But as I walked round and round, I got dizzy. Not the sick kind, but the giddy kind. It taught me that problems usually look giant when you face them head on, but if you walk around them, look at them from the side, and keep moving, they lose their power. Plus, it's impossible to take yourself seriously when you are walking in circles like a confused duck. "Do I need to consume alcohol for this?" I asked hopefully. "No," Master Han laughed. "You must consume the spirit of relaxation. Drunken boxing isn't about intoxication, it's about fluidity. It's the art of stumbling on purpose." I'm currently considering how Taoist principles, particularly the concept of Wu Wei and the interplay of yin and yang, are reflected in various martial arts styles. I'm exploring how these philosophies manifest in different approaches to combat, from external, forceful styles to more internal, yielding ones. I'm also extending the list of styles beyond the initial examples, including styles like Baguazhang and Taijiquan, to showcase the breadth of Taoist influence. I'm now zeroing in on a narrative approach for exploring these martial arts philosophies. The idea of a soft novel in the first person, perhaps as diary entries or vignettes, is resonating strongly. I'm aiming for a humorous tone, focusing on emotional well-being and gentle jokes. I'm focusing on the first few examples provided in the initial list and aiming to integrate the user's specific input, Wu Wei, Yin Yang, and Qi, while weaving in additional martial arts styles. I'm now concretizing the structure of my narrative. It's a soft novel about a stressed-out person seeking peace, and I've chosen a catchy title. The setting will be a relatable, albeit mystical, dojo with bad cell service. I've sketched the key characters, a relatable narrator, and a wise, cryptic master. I will build content chapter by chapter with an introduction that sets the tone. Currently, I'm conceptualizing the first chapter, which will explore Wu Wei through humorous scenarios involving failed attempts at meditation and cleaning. I'm now focusing on refining the initial chapters, with new chapters each exploring a core Taoist principle. The slouching cat analogy for Wu Wei is coming along well, focusing on letting go of control to achieve results. I'm also working on the humor for yin and yang, leaning into the cosmic cookie analogy for emotional balance. The concept of qi gets the indigestion joke, trying to tie breath and vitality together. The new martial arts styles are becoming more integrated, especially the sloth defense of Tai Chi and the Bagua circles, which should add some levity. The is it mean check is going strong. Hopefully my self-deprecating tone is translating. I've been mentally drafting the first few journal entries, focusing on the core concepts. The opening line is set, and I'm finding a natural flow for the Wu Wei, Yin Yang, and Qi sections. The Tai Chi section is coming along with a humorous description of how slow motion feels. I'm focusing on maintaining a self-deprecating tone. I'm incorporating the user's feedback by framing the narrative as a series of journal entries reflecting these experiences. I'm now integrating the additional styles into the journal entries. I've settled on a mini-series approach with 3 core principles and the 3 styles that best represent them. My focus is the contrast between the narrator's inner turmoil and the serenity the techniques should provide. It's a comedic challenge, but the core narrative keeps flowing. I arrived at the retreat with a suitcase full of anxiety and a to-do list that was longer than the Nile. My instructor, a man named Master Han, who moved with the urgency of a cloud, introduced me to Wu Wei. "It means effortless action," he said, handing me a broom. "Sweep the courtyard. But do not try to sweep. Just allow the sweeping to happen." I spent the first 20 minutes furiously attacking the leaves. I was sweating. I was grunting. I was essentially fighting nature. Master Han watched me while sipping tea. "You look like you are trying to arrest the dust," he noted gently. "The dust is not a criminal. It is just dust." He showed me how to move with the wind rather than against it. Suddenly, I wasn't working. I was dancing with debris. I realized Wu Wei isn't about laziness, though I am a big fan of naps. It's about stopping the struggle. It's the spiritual equivalent of realizing you've been pushing a door that clearly says, pull. The next morning, I woke up feeling grumpy. Then, 10 minutes later, I saw a butterfly and felt ecstatic. Then I stepped in a puddle and felt grumpy again. I apologized to Master Han for my emotional volatility. "Ah," he smiled, drawing a circle in the dirt, "yin and yang, the sunny side of the mountain and the shady side." He explained that the universe isn't a solid block of good vibes only. It's a dynamic mix. You can't appreciate the cozy warmth of a blanket, yang, without the air conditioning being slightly too cold, yin. I've been examining these new concepts, Tai Chi, Ziran, Te, and Bagua Zhang. I'm focusing on their nuances and seeking connections between them. My goal is to synthesize the essence of these ideas. It's becoming clearer how these concepts interrelate, and I am close to having a cohesive summary ready. I am now focusing on writing the chapters of this narrative. I'm currently drafting the Tai Chi chapter, which will include humor around the protagonist's struggles with seemingly simple movements. The goal is to make the experience feel relatable and funny, while showing how the character is working at it. The protagonist is finding how hard it is to maintain the graceful facade and get the work done. I'm now diving into the protagonist's struggles with Ziran. The goal is to show the inherent awkwardness in attempting to be natural. I'm building humor around a scene where the character forces a natural pose, only to appear absurd. The protagonist's desperate attempts at authenticity contrast sharply with Master Han's effortless grace. My next focus will be exploring the moral implications and development within the narrative, starting with Te. I'm also planning to include the character's reaction to discomfort and internal development. I'm now focusing on the Te and Bagua Zhang chapters. For Te, I'm developing a last cookie scenario. exploring the protagonist's internal conflict and ultimate choice, highlighting the humor and emotional reward of making the honest choice. I'm aiming to showcase the character's internal struggle with the temptation of unattended treats. Regarding Bagojang, I'm finding the central theme of changing perspectives through circle walking, and I'm developing the concept of dizziness into a humorous motif. Master Han will explain the circle as a tool for creating an emotional vortex. I'm now zeroing in on the narrative's tone and voice. I'm double-checking for consistency in the protagonist's neurotic but striving perspective, and Master Han's cryptic kindness. The goal is to make the story accessible. This means refining the protagonist's rotisserie chicken of enlightenment comment. I'm also ensuring a logical chapter progression. My current focus is finalizing the chapter structure: 4, 5, 6, 7. Continuing the chronicle of my journey at the mountain retreat, here are the next chapters from my diary. I was excited. I've seen people do Tai Chi in parks. They look peaceful, relaxed, and like they are gently pushing away invisible clouds of responsibility. I thought, finally, a nap while standing up. I was wrong. I sank. I grasped. And then we stayed there and stayed there. My legs did not feel like an oak. They felt like gelatin that had been left out in the sun. My quadriceps began to vibrate with a frequency that could probably shatter glass. Good, he beamed. That is the chi waking up. Or maybe just lactic acid. Both are teachers. The humor of Tai Chi, I realized, is the great deception. You look like a serene crane floating on a mist-covered lake, but internally, you are doing a wall sit that lasts for eternity. But as I surrendered to the burn, my frantic mind actually stopped racing. It turns out, it's hard to worry about your unread emails when you are focusing 100% of your brain power on not falling over while moving at the speed of a tectonic plate. You are trying too hard, Master Han said as I attempted to pour tea with the ceremonial gravity of a bomb disposal expert. I am trying to be zen, I insisted, my hand trembling. Zen is not a performance, he laughed. Look at the tree. Does it strain to grow leaves? Does the stream hold a meeting before flowing downhill? No, this is Ziran. Spontaneity, naturalness. He told me to just be myself. The problem is, myself is usually awkward. Later that afternoon, I was walking across the courtyard, thinking deeply about the universe, when I tripped over my own sandal. I stumbled forward, flailing my arms like a windmill fighting a hurricane, and landed in a perfect crouch next to the flower bed. I looked up, terrified. Excellent, he clapped. You fell with total sincerity. You did not plan the stumble, yet you arrived at the flowers. That is Ziran. I realized that Ziran means forgiving yourself for being human. Continuing the chronicle of my journey at the mountain retreat, here are the next chapters from my diary. Today, Master Han announced, looking disturbingly fresh for 6 a.m., we will practice Tai Chi. It is like swimming in air. I was excited. I've seen people do Tai Chi in parks. They look peaceful, relaxed, and like they are gently pushing away invisible clouds of responsibility. I thought, finally, a nap while standing up. I was wrong. Master Han instructed us to sink into a stance called grasping the bird's tail. I sank, I grasped, and then we stayed there. Relax your shoulders, Master Han murmured, but keep your legs rooted like an ancient oak. My legs did not feel like an oak. They felt like gelatin that had been left out in the sun. My quadriceps began to vibrate with a frequency that could probably shatter glass. Master, I squeaked, my legs are singing the song of their people. Good, he beamed. That is the chi waking up. Or maybe just lactic acid. Both are teachers. The humor of Tai Chi, I realized, is the great deception. You look like a serene crane floating on a mist-covered lake, but internally, you are doing a wall sit that lasts for eternity. But as I surrendered to the burn, my frantic mind actually stopped racing. It turns out, it's hard to worry about your unread emails when you are focusing 100% of your brain power on not falling over while moving at the speed of a tectonic plate. You are trying too hard, Master Han said, as I attempted to pour tea with the ceremonial gravity of a bomb disposal expert. I am trying to be zen, I insisted, my hand trembling. Zen is not a performance, he laughed. Look at the tree. Does it strain to grow leaves? Does the stream hold a meeting before flowing downhill? No, this is Ziran, spontaneity, naturalness. He told me to just be myself. The problem is, myself is usually awkward. Later that afternoon, I was walking across the courtyard, thinking deeply about the universe. When I tripped over my own sandal, I stumbled forward, flailing my arms like a windmill fighting a hurricane, and landed in a perfect crouch next to the flower bed. I looked up, terrified. Master Han was watching. "Excellent," he clapped. "You fell with total sincerity. You did not plan the stumble, yet you arrived at the flowers. That is Ziran." I realized that Ziran means forgiving yourself for being human. It's the emotional relief of taking off your social mask and just being the weird, stumbling, authentic creature you actually are. At dinner, the retreat served steamed dumplings. They were delicious. There was exactly one dumpling left on the communal plate. I wanted it. I wanted it more than I wanted enlightenment. I looked around. The other students were meditating on their rice. Master Han was looking out the window at the moon. No one would know. I reached out my chopsticks. Then I froze. "This is Tay," I heard a voice in my head. Tay isn't about following rules because you're afraid of getting caught. It's that warm, glowing feeling in your chest when you do the right thing, simply because it aligns with the Tao. It's the integrity muscle. I pulled my chopsticks back. I offered the dumpling to the student next to me, a guy named Dave, who had been struggling with his breathing exercises. "For your chi," I whispered. Dave ate it. I didn't get the dumpling, but I got a sudden rush of internal sparkle. Tay is basically spiritual self-care. It's the realization that being kind is actually selfish because it makes you feel better than the dumpling ever could. Okay, the dumpling still looked really good, but the moral superiority was a close second. "Walk the circle," Master Han commanded. Bagwajang is a martial art based entirely on walking in circles. We formed a ring around a large tree. "Keep your eyes on the center," he said. "Walk swiftly, twist your waist." Round and round we went. At first, I felt like a dog chasing a very slow squirrel. Then I felt like I was going to throw up. "I am getting dizzy, Master," I yelled as I passed him for the 40th time. "Good. The dizziness is your rigid mind unraveling," he called back. As I kept walking, something shifted. The background, the mountains, the buildings, the other students blurred into a streak of colors. The only thing that remained clear was the tree in the center. Continuing my journey of self-discovery at the mountain retreat. "You are feeling very wood today," Master Han observed as I sat on a bench, aggressively frowning at a squirrel that had stolen a cracker. "I am not wood," I grumbled. "I am flesh, bone, and 90% caffeine. In Taoism, we are a cycle of 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Right now, you are stiff, growing upwards, and stubborn. That is wood." My anxiety wasn't just me being a mess, it was likely an excess of fire. My indecision, probably my earth element being a bit muddy, it was a revelation. Instead of blaming myself for being moody, I could just blame the elements. It felt much more dignified to say, "Sorry I snapped at you, my metal is clashing with your wood," rather than, "I am hangry." "So how do I fix it?" I asked. "Balance," Master Han smiled. "If you are too rigid like wood, you need the fluidity of water. Go take a bath, or at least drink a glass of water and stop glaring at the squirrel." "Today, we become animals," Master Han announced. I immediately perked up. Finally, I thought, I can be a majestic eagle. "You," Master Han pointed at me, "will practice the bear." Xingyi Quan is a martial art that takes the essence of animals and turns them into direct, powerful moves. I assumed the bear style involves roaring and looking terrifying. "The bear is heavy," Master Han corrected, watching me flail my arms. "The bear is grounded. The bear does not worry about the stock market. The bear simply drops." I spent the next hour stomping around the courtyard trying to embody the spirit of a grizzly. The problem is, my inner bear is less the revenant and more Winnie the Pooh. I wasn't striking with power, I was just kind of lumbering and hugging the air. "Better," Master Han nodded, hiding a smile. "You look less like a fighter, and more like you are looking for a comfortable place to hibernate. But the intent is there. And honestly, it felt good. Being a bear gave me permission to be heavy, to stop holding my stomach in, and to take up space. I realized that sometimes emotional well-being is just letting yourself be a large, unbothered mammal. "We are going to brew the golden elixir," Master Han whispered conspiratorially in the meditation hall. I got excited. "Is there a recipe? Do we need a blender?" "The blender is you," he said, tapping my chest. Internal alchemy, or Nidan, is the practice of mixing your energies inside your body to create a pearl of spiritual immortality. Or, as I understood it, it's like turning your torso into a spiritual crockpot. "Close your eyes," he guided. "Bring the fire of your mind down to the water of your belly. Let them simmer." I sat there breathing. I tried to visualize a mystical pearl forming. Mostly, I just heard my stomach gurgling. I worried I was doing it wrong. Was I brewing enlightenment, or was I just digesting that dumpling from chapter 6? Do not rush the cooking, Master Han's voice drifted over. You cannot microwave the soul. That stuck with me. In a world of instant downloads and same-day delivery, Naden was a reminder that the good stuff, peace, clarity, resilience, needs to simmer on low heat for a long, long time. I wasn't stuck in life. I was just marinating. Focus on your lower dantian, Master Han instructed during our standing meditation. It is 3 finger widths below your navel. That is where I keep my snacks, I helpfully pointed out. It is where you keep your power, he corrected. The dantian is described as the field of elixir, the body's main battery. Master Han explained that most modern people keep their energy in their heads, constantly thinking, worrying, and planning. That's why we topple over so easily when life pushes us. We are top-heavy. Drop your mind into your belly, he said. Think with your gut. I visualized my consciousness sliding down a slide from my brain past my anxious heart and landing with a soft plop in my lower abdomen. Suddenly, the ground felt solid. The chatter in my head sounded far away, like a radio left in another room. I felt stable. I felt anchored. I think I found it, I whispered, eyes closed, swaying slightly like a bamboo stalk. Good, Master Han said softly. Now keep it there, and remember, a full battery does not panic. Only a dying battery beeps incessantly. I laughed. Then a sage would not survive my group chat. That week, there was a tiny storm among the students about scheduling. People were polite, but tense in that way where everyone smiles while emotionally sharpening knives. Someone tried to recruit me. Don't you think it's unfair? I felt the old urge rise. Pick a side, defend my position. Then I remembered sagehood, quiet power, minimal drama, maximum clarity. I took a breath and said, perhaps. They blinked. Perhaps what? Perhaps it is unfair, and perhaps it will be okay. This was not the satisfying answer my inner attorney wanted, but it was the answer my nervous system needed. I didn't deny their feelings, I just didn't build a bonfire out of them. Sagehood, I realized, is emotional self-protection with kindness. It's staying centered when people try to hand you a flaming torch labeled, "Take this personally." It's having the confidence to remain unentangled. Later, Master Han nodded at me and said, "You used, perhaps." Very good. I felt proud in the weirdest way, like I'd just leveled up in the ancient martial art of not making it worse. I said, "I'm more like an anxious sponge. Water yields," he said, "but it also wears down stone. It does not panic, it adapts." I watched the water move around rocks without complaint. It simply flowed. That metaphor hit my emotional habits hard. I tend to meet obstacles like a brick meets a wall, with impact, frustration, and the belief that if I hit it enough times, it will apologize and move. Water taught a gentler strategy. Change shape, find a path. Don't argue with the fact that the rock exists. Use patience as power. That afternoon, when plans changed suddenly, I felt the surge of irritation. Instead of clenching, I practiced water, loosen the jaw, soften the shoulders, find the next workable step. It didn't make the inconvenience fun, but it made it survivable without turning me into a villain in my own story. Proof philosophers love bath time analogies, absolutely. But honestly, if a stream can teach me how to stop fighting reality, I'll take the lecture, even if it's delivered by liquid. I didn't realize how full I was until Master Han asked me to hold my cup out. He poured tea until it reached the brim. Then he kept pouring. It overflowed onto my hand. I jumped. "Master, it's spilling." He nodded. "Yes, like you come to practice already full," he said gently. "Full of ideas, judgments, fear, pride, old stories. No room for new tea." That evening, I tried something radical. When someone complimented my progress, I didn't deflect. I just let it land. "Thank you," I said, and felt the compliment warm my chest like tea. Empty cup wasn't about being empty-headed, it was about being receptive. It also meant letting go of the constant internal commentary, so life could actually reach me. I realized I don't just need an empty cup for knowledge, I need one for kindness, especially kindness toward myself. If I'm full of self-criticism, nothing nourishing can enter. So I practiced emptiness in small ways, pausing before reacting, listening without preparing my reply, letting silence exist without filling it with nervous jokes.